Big news from next week's Republican National Convention. It's going to be on television. Well, you know that and I know that, but the big news is that the RNC may also know it. I'm PJTV's Scott Ott, joined now by Bill Whittle and Stephen Green. Well, man, the New York Times this week goes behind the scenes to reveal that the RNC has actually hired professional TV people and set designers to present Mitt Romney in a way that is warm, personal, and inviting. Of course, the Times sees this as a desperate $2.5 million attempt to overcome Romney's cold, stiff, robotic, aloof personality. Bill Whittle, on a previous episode of Trifecta, you compared and contrasted the aesthetic sensibilities of the Republicans and Democrats at their 2008 conventions. Care to update your thoughts on the matter in light of this news?
I actually did an afterburner called Iconography that's just hovering just a little under 1 million hits at YouTube, so go watch it, put it over the top for me if you have a chance. Let's take a look at 2008. This is what we're coming from, this kind of annihilation. There is the DNC stage in 2008. Look how beautiful that is. Looks like the bridge of the Enterprise on Star Trek The Next Generation. It's gorgeous. It's colorful. It's lit up. All these lines going up into heaven. It's ready for the ascension of the Messiah, and it's just spectacular. Now let's look at the awesomeness of the RNC back in 2008. This John McCain set. Wow! Look at that. It's a square box. And look, ladies and gentlemen, that set, I want you to understand that that set took almost an hour to construct, and that's with a crew of 3 people working full time. Plus, McCain came out in front of a grassy lawn. It was a giant video picture of, I think it was like the Naval Academy or the Naval Observatory. But when you went for the close-up of John McCain, he's surrounded by lime green, the most unattractive color on the face of the earth. 2008 was an image disaster. So anything that Romney's doing to improve that is going to be a big step up. I don't think it's going to flip the election, but these things really matter, Scotty. They really do, and it's a really good sign.
Well, and in addition, McCain standing in front of the green screen made it a lot of fun for people who did a lot of mashups on the websites where they imposed images behind him, because green screen technology allows you to do that. Speaking of green screen, Stephen Green, in addition to the set design, the Times said that planners are working to make sure that the speakers, for example, fit the constraints of the network news schedule, finishing their speeches in time for commercial breaks. Why are the moderates in the establishment kowtowing to the liberals in the mainstream media now?
Oh, man. Priceless.
Scotty, the way you do this, you're
priceless.
Awesome. Frustrating sometimes, but awesome. Look, it's not kowtowing. It's good manners. It's saying, we've got a job to do, and that's to get our guy nominated. You have a job to do, and that's to broadcast this thing and to sell ads. So here we are. We are going to help you get your job done. You're going to help us get our job done, and it's a win-win for everybody. Good press relations are an awesome and important thing for any candidate, especially when you're the Republican candidate and it's just kind of assumed there's going to be a bridge, a gap, hostility. Anything you can do to ameliorate that is a good idea, as long as you're not bending your principles. This isn't bending principles. This is accommodating the networks who have to pay for all of this somehow. And we're going to get more into this, I think, later with Bill's Trifecta this week. But I'm impressed that Romney doesn't have this adversarial thing coming out like McCain did as soon as the press turned against him. McCain just went sour and got lost. And, well, we're not seeing that this time. It's good. It's good.
Well, Bill, Republicans tend to focus in general on logic and reason with little emotion or adornment. We're serious people with serious ideas in serious times. We're not entertainers. And now it looks like the GOP is planning to copy the leftist playbook. I mean, if they do it with set design today, what's to stop them from aping progressive ideology tomorrow?
I feel like I provide rock-solid conservative principles in a stylish and elegant package. I don't see how that diminishes the quality of the principles any. I think it actually helps a little bit if you really want to know. One of the things I mentioned, when I talked about that iconography video, I opened this up by saying, I showed a picture of a fantastic steak dinner, right? I mean, it was just absolutely like a $50 steak dinner, just great huge hunk of T-bone steak, and you could almost hear the thing sizzling, and it was golden brown, and there was this fantastic big fluffy baked potato with melted butter, and you could see the steam coming off of it, and peas, and it was just gorgeous. And then I showed the exact same meal after it had been placed in a blender and put on puree for about a minute or two. And it was just this gray paste. It's the same exact meal. Nothing in the meal has changed. It's absolutely the same thing. In fact, that's what it looks like when it gets inside. As a matter of fact, I'm sure the paste is probably a little easier to digest. But it's not just the contents, Scotty. It's the packaging. It's the packaging. It's the packaging. You got a message that sizzles. Sell the sizzle. It doesn't mean you're skimping on things. Doesn't mean you're leaving anything out. But for God's sakes, man, we like hot women, fast cars, big guns, and loud explosions. Who doesn't love that stuff? For God's sakes, can we stop hamstringing ourselves and get in front of this thing just for once, maybe just once?
Well, Steve, according to the New York Times, Mitt Romney himself nixed a set design that was too cool and modern, and he opted for warm wood tones and an open approach that suggests accessibility. Shouldn't Romney be focused on polishing his points of the acceptance speech rather than picking out the drapes and the carpets? I mean, what's going on here?
Well, he's a smart guy. I'm sure he can do both. He's no idiot. What I'm thinking of, though, and Bill, when he was just talking, made me think of this. Remember the Greek columns that Obama had from 2008? He filled up Denver Mile High Stadium. He did the thing outdoors in this grand Roman Greco Colosseum thing. There was just this. It aggrandized himself. It aggrandized his programs, and it aggrandized big government. Well, it looks like Romney is going for something like a human scale, bringing this down to something that is something an individual can comprehend and deal with. And if that reflects anything like how he's going to govern, wow, I am finally getting excited to pull the lever for this guy.
Yeah, it's more like a living room than a pedestal, and that's exactly right, Stephen Green. Well, you know, I was talking with my lovely bride the other day about something that seemed deeply significant to me. And as I spoke, I couldn't help but notice that she wasn't looking me in the eye. She was kind of scanning me up and down. I stopped. "What's wrong?" I said. "Nothing," she said. "Well, you're not listening to me," I said. "Sure I am," she said, and then repeated my words virtually verbatim. I said, No. You hear my words, but you're not listening to me." And finally she confessed. "You're not going to wear that tie with that shirt, are you?" she said. I had to look down to find out what tie and which shirt I was wearing. To me, clothing provides warmth, conceals nakedness, and ideally avoids drawing attention to itself. But for her, the wrong clothing prevents understanding. Congratulations to Mitt Romney and the RNC for at least attempting to connect aesthetically and communicate emotionally so that more people can experience the truth and beauty of the rational message of liberty. For Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, and the entire Trifecta crew at PJTV.com, I'm Scott Ott.